Thank you for your interest in Conceptual Academy's course guidebook series. I'm Stephanie Blake, one of the authors of the course guidebooks. Let's take a second to brainstorm how to grade these student writing products. Depending on the level of science being taught, the literature review created by students could be very different. For each vocabulary word presented in the background information section of each concept, students are to provide a definition, related equation, and labeled caption diagram as they investigate the concept. Because students are encouraged to use a variety of sources as we strive to increase their science literacy, there can be no exact answer. This approach to instruction is the foundation of the NGS standards. Science is messy. The data collected within each lab or project will not be perfect. That's why students must make a line of best fit instead of connecting the dots. Then they must interpret that line or curve, discuss outlier data, and any error that possibly occurred to deviate their data from their expectations. Again, for this, there can be no one exact answer. That is what real science looks like. Because these course guidebooks approach science from a completely conceptual perspective using a guided inquiry cyclic pedagogical approach, asking for an instructor's edition for these course guidebooks would be the same as asking for an instructor's edition or answer key for a PhD dissertation. What is important is both the knowledge gained and the process used and the analysis completed. You will notice these course guidebooks are separated into concepts rather than chapters. That is because we recognize you'll be using a myriad of resources, including textbooks, video textbooks, etc., that may also use the word chapter, and it can get very confusing when these chapters do not match up across resources. Therefore, we use the word concept. The idea is that once students perform all of the steps of a concept outlined in a guidebook in tandem with the learning resources available in your course, they will have a complete and holistic understanding of the concept. How then do I grade student writing products? The laboratory report rubric in the appendix of the book includes nearly all components of superior scientific writing and will need to be adjusted according to the student's ability level and teacher learning goals. Instructors need to attach point values to the desired sections and section details that are appropriate for the point scale of their course. It is important for both students and teachers to know how grading in a course will be approached. Therefore, it is imperative that both groups have access to the rubrics. Presented here in the front matter of this course guidebook is a section called How to Write a Lab Report, where the expectations for approaching the numeracy and literacy of each concept is profusely spelled out for the student. After reading How to Write a Lab Report, both students and instructors will understand exactly what is expected in a student product after going through all of the steps for each concept. It is recommended that you use a progressive rubric, meaning start the course with just a few items from the rubric in each section. As student writing improves, continue to add expectations. It is impossible to expect students to be perfect academic writers from the first day of the course. We, as teachers, must coach them through their literacy skills. So why do we write in every activity? As more education is being delivered and assessed online, teachers are in constant battle with cheating. Whether students are copying and pasting directly from the internet or looking up answers to tests and quizzes, determining what students actually know and can do is becoming more challenging. The course guidebooks were designed with these issues in mind. Students are asked to analyze, reflect, and explain every detail of their scientific process, as well as their knowledge acquisition through writing. They cannot simply conduct an internet search for this information. It must be generated from their brains. So again, how do I grade this? Think of yourself like a coach instead of a teacher. A coach would never ask a track athlete to go from running a 10-minute mile to a 5-minute mile in 1 week. Rather, incremental improvements would be made over the course of time. The same is true with student academic writing. Initially, student expression will most likely be underdeveloped. With time, through repetitive guidance, not only will students acquire scientific knowledge, but they will also improve their science literacy. You will get frustrated quickly if you try to make every correction to all student writing from the first day of class. Instead, allot yourself a small amount of time per student to make corrections and move on. When students receive feedback coded in red ink, they too quickly get frustrated. Instead, small improvements with each week need to be made. You may not assess every misconception or improper use of a word initially, but over time, all of these issues will be addressed. It's important to follow the N+ rule of coaching. Find the natural ability level of the student and push them one step farther than they would push themselves. Like a coach, give daily constant feedback in small doses that make incremental progress towards their personal best by the end of the course. Consider using that progressive rubric. Begin with a partial grading rubric with only a few of the benchmarks listed. Over time, as student writing improves, add additional benchmarks. Why do we have students embed pictures and videos in every activity? Our modern world is one of cell phones and selfies. Not only does the visual aid inclusion make the activity more fun and personal, it also allows instructors to assess academic honesty. If the course is online, students can asynchronously watch each other's videos and provide feedback. Students always ask, can we work together? That's entirely up to the teacher. However, think about how the students could be collaborative yet still held individually accountable for the product. For example, perhaps each student is assigned a different section of the activity and then they collate their work. Make sure students understand they will be earning their own grades as per the rubric, no group grades. These approaches to learning science are the foundation of the next generation science standards. We are certain this approach to pedagogy will better help you and your students enjoy, explore, and quantify science with everyday materials.